Yes, it is generally permissible to run circuits originating from different electrical panels within the same conduit, provided certain conditions and requirements are met as stipulated by the National Electrical Code, or NEC. The NEC is a comprehensive set of standards and guidelines for safe electrical installations. When dealing with circuits from multiple panels within a shared conduit, it's crucial to prioritize safety and adherence to these regulations. There are several key considerations to ensure a compliant and safe installation. Firstly, the insulation rating of the conductors must be suitable for the highest voltage present in any of the circuits within the conduit. This means selecting conductors with an insulation rating that equals or exceeds the maximum voltage of any circuit contained within the conduit. For example, if you have a 120-volt circuit and a 277-volt circuit in the same conduit, all conductors must have an insulation rating of at least 600 volts, which is a common standard. Secondly, the ampacity of the conductors must be correctly calculated and appropriate for the load they will carry. Ampacity refers to the current carrying capacity of a conductor, and is essential to choose conductors that can safely handle the anticipated current without overheating. This calculation must take into account the ambient temperature and the number of current-carrying conductors within the conduit, as these factors can affect the conductor's ability to dissipate heat. The NEC provides tables and guidelines for adjusting ampacity based on these conditions. Thirdly, the conduit fill requirements must be strictly observed. Conduit fill refers to the percentage of the conduit's cross-sectional area that is occupied by conductors. The NEC limits the maximum allowable conduit fill to prevent overheating and ensure that conductors can be easily pulled or removed. The specific fill limits depend on the type of conduit and the number of conductors. For example, for 3 or more conductors, the maximum fill is typically 40%. Fourthly, grounding and bonding requirements must be meticulously followed. A proper grounding system is essential for electrical safety, providing a low impedance path for fault currents to return to the source, thereby tripping circuit breakers or fuses and preventing electrical shock hazards. All metallic conduits must be properly grounded and bonded to ensure electrical continuity and minimize the risk of ground faults. The size of the grounding conductor must be appropriate for the size of the overcurrent protection devices in the circuits. Fifthly, the overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers or fuses, must be correctly sized and installed to protect the conductors from overloads and short circuits. The overcurrent protection device should be rated no higher than the ampacity of the conductor it protects, unless specific exceptions are permitted by the NEC. Incorrectly sized overcurrent protection can lead to overheating, insulation damage, and potentially electrical fires. Sixthly, it's essential to maintain proper separation of high and low voltage circuits. Although running circuits from different panels in the same conduit is generally allowed, it's good practice to keep high voltage and low voltage circuits physically separated within the conduit if possible. This can help minimize the risk of interference and ensure the integrity of the low voltage circuits. Seventhly, all wiring and connections must be performed by qualified personnel who are familiar with the NEC and local electrical codes. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it's crucial to have the knowledge and skills necessary to perform installations safely and correctly. Qualified electricians are trained to identify potential hazards and follow proper procedures to minimize risks. Eighthly, it is very important to check local amendments to the NEC. Local jurisdictions may have amendments or additions to the NEC that are specific to their area. It is important to check with the local building department or electrical inspector to ensure that the installation complies with all applicable requirements. Ninthly, conduit type needs to be rated for its purpose, such as wet or dry location. The type of conduit you use must be appropriate for the environment in which it will be installed. For example, if the conduit will be exposed to moisture, you must use a conduit that is rated for wet locations. Tenthly, consider future expansion. When planning an electrical installation, it's wise to consider the potential for future expansion. Running extra conduits or increasing the size of existing conduits can make it easier to add new circuits in the future without having to disrupt existing wiring. For example, you may install pull strings in the conduits to facilitate future conductor pulls. Let's look at a practical example. Suppose you have a commercial building with two separate electrical panels, panel A and panel B. Panel A supplies power to the lighting circuits, and panel B supplies power to the receptacle circuits. You want to run some additional circuits from both panels to a new office area. To do this safely and in accordance with NEC, you could run circuits from both panels in the same conduit, ensuring that all conductors have a 600 volts insulation rating, that the ampacity of the conductors is correctly calculated, that the conduit fill limits are observed, and that all grounding and bonding requirements are met. In this case, it is important to follow the rules of NEC section 300.3. In summary, while running circuits from different panels in the same conduit is generally permissible, it requires careful attention to detail and strict adherence to the NEC and local electrical codes. By following these guidelines, you can ensure safe and compliant electrical installation.